Hey guys, Dr. Hill here with PaleoLifestyleDoctor.com, and I'm here today at Paleo Pet Goods, and you're probably wondering why I'm at a pet goods store when we typically talk about human nutrition. Well, if you're like me in looking at your animals are a part of the family, and I know when I started looking at my diet and the things that I was consuming, I started also asking the questions, well, what am I giving to my animals? And I started looking at labels just like I do with human food, and I really got concerned pretty quick. And it led me on a little mission, and I landed here with Christine Geetson at Paleo Pet Goods. So Christine, thanks for being with me today. And can you tell us a little bit about the idea of utilizing paleo foods in dogs and cats?
Well, I mean, the health benefits, obviously. The foods are a lot closer to their diet, their actual ancestral diet.
Right.
So whenever you look at your pet foods that you're feeding and you're thinking, I wonder if this is good for my pet, and you realize, okay, I have a dog. Dogs eat meat. They might have a little bit of botanicals, a little bit of vegetables or fruit in their diet here and there, but most of the time they want meat, and that's what they utilize best whenever they process it through their system.
Right. So basically it's looking at trying to deliver food to our animals. It's getting them back to the way that they should probably be eating anyway.
Right.
Does it sound familiar, guys? That's something we tend to talk about here on the website. So, just like we're looking at trying to make sure we're consuming foods that our bodies can utilize and easily assimilate the nutrients from, have good protein, good carbohydrate sources, these are the same things that we should be thinking about with our animals. Now, obviously, animals are a little bit different than we as humans are. So in terms of food, how should we begin to think about our food? Are there, with humans, we tend to think about more plant-based foods probably as being what should be the majority of the diet. But by and large, and especially our cats and dogs, they're more carnivores. They're not, they want more of a meat-based diet. Am I correct about that?
That's correct. Exactly correct.
Okay. So when we talk about different meat options, what are some of the different meat options that, with regards to different foods that you provide here at your store, what are some different meat options that we might be able to have access to with our animals?
Well, and because my store focuses so much on the protein side of things, I have a lot of novel proteins available.
Very interesting.
So there's, you mostly see chicken, beef, turkey, fish types of ingredients in mainstream pet foods. But here I have all of those, but I also have things like duck and pheasant and rabbit, and now we're seeing some other things coming onto the scene, kangaroo and brushtail from Australia and New Zealand. We also have lamb, venison. There's a lot of options for people, especially if they have a pet that's having issues with certain proteins.
Right.
Or having sensitivities, and they really need something that's gentle to their system. Okay,
so you bring up a point there I want to elaborate on with regards to issues. So I'm assuming that it sounds like maybe some of your customers, they end up in your store because their animals are having issues. So what kind of things does a typical customer that's coming in, if their pet is having some health concerns, what are some health concerns that they might be exemplifying?
The most common one is GI issues.
Okay.
They're not digesting their food very well. Either it's coming back up or it's going through too fast. That's one of the main concerns that comes into the store. The other one is allergy type symptoms, where the animal is licking their paws, biting at their paws, biting at different parts of their body.
Right.
Hot spots, created just from, the constant licking and biting and scratching.
Right.
So there's a lot of that kind of issue that comes into the store, and 9 times out of 10 they're feeding an inappropriate food that's got a lot of grains in it, a lot of inflammatory types of grains like wheat, and corn, things like that.
So basically, if I'm hearing you right, you're saying grains and corns, things like this, probably aren't good for animals, just like they're not good for us as humans. Is that correct?
Okay.
Exactly. And it makes sense. I kind of thought about that myself, real kind of generically from time to time. Like, I don't ever remember seeing any foxes or wolves or any canine-based animals out scrabbing through a wheat field. That just doesn't seem normal to me, right? So, okay, well, great. I appreciate that. So I would love to talk to you in a little bit more detail about some of the differences between the different food options that are out there. So I know that's kind of a broad topic. So what I want to do is I want to save that for our next segment. I know some the audience that's listening to us, they're excited to hear that. They want to hear what you've got to say about this. They want to know, what should I be feeding my pet, right?
Exactly.
So guys, stay tuned. We're going to have another segment here coming up, and we're going to talk more in detail about what kind of foods you should really be feeding in terms of looking at differences in labels, how to read the label, what type of questions you should be asked when you're looking for a pet food for your dog or for your cat. Thanks for joining us, guys. Dr. Arland Hill with PaleoLifestyleDoctor.com.